Hi, welcome back to the channel. Week 6. Got that 7-miler at the end of it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Probably really backlit right now, but I wanted to show off my Etsy sweatshirt. Yay! Alright, today's Wednesday. I have intervals and I'm out at our track because this is one of the last mornings I'll be able to be out here before school starts. So we'll talk about how this week is going during my interval breaks. Alright, just about done with my warm-up. So before I talk about what I'm doing today, like I said, today's Wednesday. I'm having to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the 3 big things this week, because Saturday I'm hosting another fundraiser 5K for this time for the cross country team, the high school team. So I won't be able to run a long run on Saturday. Won't have time. So Monday I got up really early, and I just did almost 45 minutes, but I was so tired, so I just did run half mile, walk a quarter, run half mile, walk a quarter until I got to 4 miles. Yesterday, just did easy 2 on my street, heart rate. Today is Wednesday, I'm out here to do intervals. I'm doing 15-minute warm-up, and then 8 sets of run hard for a minute, recover a minute and a half, and then a 10-minute cool down. That'll get me to 45. And then, yeah, it is warm out here. I'm not digging that. I thought it was going to be cool when I looked at my weather app. Nope, it is nice and sunny and warm. So we'll get started with our intervals here in just a couple minutes. Okay, 4 miles, just under 45 minutes. My cool down was very slow because it is warm. I did the actual workout part exactly as I wanted to. Ran hard for a minute, would jog for 45 seconds, walk for 45 seconds, run real hard, and I did that 8 times. Oh, got it done though. Now I really want some water and my coffee that's waiting for me in my car. Yeah, so overall, I'm pleased with that. So I will see you on Friday for 7 miles, which I unfortunately am going to have to do on my own. Happy Friday! Today is the first day of school, and I'm behind a school bus. Anyway, like I said, it's Friday, going out for my 7 miles. My car's reading 65 right now, which is not terribly disappointing. Cool with that. I don't know why I feel so anxious about this. I think it's just because I told my sister, yesterday, it's been a minute since I've ran 7 miles, so I think maybe that's just why. Probably once I get over this little hump of, I haven't ran this far in a while, I'm hoping it'll just, whenever we reach these long runs, and be like, oh, just a couple more miles, and it'll just be, just trucking along. But for now, it's been a while since I've ran 7 miles, and I'm a little scared. But we're going to go out to the dam, one of my favorite places, and fortunately one of my favorite podcasts released their episode for this week, and it's almost an hour long, so I'm looking forward to listening to that. It's Rope Dog Radio. I love, those 2 guys are so funny. So I like to listen to Rope Dog Radio. Yeah, let's get out there and do it. Forgot to stop my watch. Oh, sorry I didn't record at all during that, but that was awful. Intervals broke down somewhere at about 3.5 miles. Called my sister. She talked me through 2.5 miles, so that was nice. Her, shout out Katie and Lake, Mastian. I already knew I had a list of things I was gonna ask them if I ended up having to call my sister. We talked about wine and dine, talked about some ideas for marathon weekend, but I told her, I was like, I'm worried because this is a puny 7 miles. I'm miserable. It's just 7 miles. And she's like, it's still summer. It's gonna feel awful right now, but it'll get better. So yay. Whew. Now I get to turn on the air conditioning in that lovely thing right there. Also, our Dare to Dopey this week the theme was alumni. So college alumni. I'm UCF Knights, black and gold. So this is about as close as I could get. This is my current status. We're icing all the things and we're wearing compression socks. One doggo, the other doggo. Well, we reached the end of week 6, and honestly, I did my 7 miles on Friday. Didn't do anything on Saturday, didn't do anything on Sunday, and I mean, my 7 miles, I did it. It's completed. My overall pace was still under my goal for my St. Jude Marathon, but I didn't feel good about that run at all. And like I said, I called my sister and I was like, I'm not feeling good about this right now. And I'm just hoping that a large portion of that is because of my sleep schedule. It's very off. One of my dogs just will not sleep through the night anymore. We're not really sure why. So we're trying to figure that out because I cannot sustain the sleep schedule and be able to properly train for this. It's not going to work. And I'm not going to feel comfortable with my runs if I have no energy. So we're trying to figure that out. But it's, it's done. Like I said, did the 7. And now we have a shorter week coming up, which is great. So for week 6 in our Run the Mile You're In, it's about positive focus. And my overall feeling of what he was talking about, I'm going to go through and read everything I marked, but before that, kind of my overall feeling of what he was kind of talking about is to just be very aware of what you're feeding into yourself, like what you're listening to, what you're reading. Social media, while yay, social media can be great, it can also be not so great. But anyway, so I'm going to go through and just read what I marked because there's so much and all of it was good. He says, I never had my best workouts or races when I ran with someone's negative words floating around in my head, which makes sense because I firmly believe that whatever you focus on will increase. Whatever we fix our minds on grows, which is why it's so important to monitor our thoughts. Philippians 4:8 says, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence and if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. I usually had my best races and workouts when I was just having fun, enjoying the sensation of running and the pain that comes with pushing myself, focused on living out my God-given mission. On those runs, I wasn't focused on what others said I wasn't capable of. I was focused on what God had shown me was possible for my life. I'm going to read that again because that was awesome. On those runs, I wasn't focused on what others said I wasn't capable of. I was focused on what God had shown me was possible for my life. The more I was able to set my mind on what God said rather than what others say, the more confident I became, and thus the better I ran. God's words are only positive, hopeful, and truthful, so setting my mind and heart on them caused positivity and strength to flow through my running and my life. He had a pastor that would say, I can't afford to have a thought about myself that God doesn't have about me. I mean, and really, aren't his the only thoughts that matter? God's thoughts? So why think things about ourselves that he wouldn't think about us? God's grace has covered my failures, and now he looks at me with unconditional love, a love that doesn't have to be earned and can't be lost. Running free of the criticism of others is one thing, but I also have to run free of my criticism of myself. He talks about how he came to realize that the only person's opinion of me that mattered was God's. Jesus states, I do not receive glory from men. How can you believe when you receive glory from one another and you do not seek the glory that is from the one and only God? That's from John chapter 5. I see receiving glory as a place from which we get our validation. Glory is determined by our worth, our sense of how special, loved, and valuable we are. I don't think Jesus is saying it's wrong to receive compliments or words of affirmation from people other than God. I believe that God often encourages us through the words of others. Yet there's a difference between receiving glory and receiving compliments and encouragement, meaning that we shouldn't put our self-worth in what other people say about us. And, words of affirmation and encouraging each other are great, but our worth comes from God. Totally agree. And lastly, when I am running with this focus, I can have joy whether I'm having the best workout of my life or the worst one ever, whether I'm winning a race or just struggling to finish. This was me on Friday. When the cheering crowds and the critics fade away, I can feel the smile on his face as he watches me compete. That always goes back to, why we're doing this, the beginning of this book, Vision and Purpose. In running and in life, to remember where we should have our focus. So that was a really good one, especially after my 7 miles that I was not so happy about. But remembering that I'm working for something bigger. Not every run is going to be great, but the point is that we're getting out there. I'm enjoying being out in this beautiful place that I get to live, that God created. So I hope everyone's good. I hope everyone's training is going well. I know that we have kids that have started back to school, so if you have kiddos, I hope that their beginning of school is going well. Be sure to give this video a like, leave me a comment. What are some things, mantras, or positive focus things that you'd like to tell yourself while you're running? And be sure to subscribe. We've got a little bit of travel coming up in the next week or two. So I'll be happy to share where we're going, what we're doing, some fun and interesting things that don't necessarily have to do with training, but kind of help to ease the anxiety of these longer miles that are getting ready to come up. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece. I'll see you next week.